Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that I received. The translation of that message, it reads like this. Hello, Brother Nash, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? I have my own story that I want to share with you. This happened back home in Zim. When it happened, it was something like a movie that was happening in real time. So I do come from an area in Masvingo. There is a village there in Masvingo. So this happened on top of my grandmother's grave. So even though my grandmother had passed away, we buried her, and soon after that, that was when we decided to purchase a tombstone and place that tombstone on top of a grave. But some of the elderly people, like from the family, they were refusing. They were saying that she did not want a tombstone to be placed on top of her grave because she said that this was going to disturb her. And the last thing that we expected was to see a termite hill. And now the elderly people from the family, they are saying, we told you, did we not tell you not to put a tombstone on top of her grave? For she said that she just wanted a grave to be left alone so that when it rains, the soil from the grave would be washed away by the rain. That is what she said. So these termites, they keep on building and building and building. Now there is a big anthill on top of her grave right now in the middle of the tombstone. So the first time when they called us from Zim, me and my relatives that are here in South Africa, they told us that there was something strange that was happening on top of our grandmother's grave. We told them to clean the grave with a spade and these things won't bother them anymore. Maybe these termites, we said, they were building from the side of the grave, carrying their soil on top of the tombstone, which did not make sense because as far as I know, as for the termites, they will always find a place where there is soil, where they can connect directly with the soil, not just building on top of a concrete block just like that. Where were they getting all of this soil? Because this tombstone, it does not have any crack, anything, nothing, but they were just getting this soil from nowhere. They always want a place where they can build from the ground going up. That is what we used to see and what we see when the termites are building their anthill. So after our relatives that are in the village had gone to clean our grandmother's grave and even putting some chemicals, that chemical that they use to kill the ticks that will be on a cow, that is the chemical that they poured around the tombstone, thinking that it will destroy all the termites. But it was as if we had made these termites to be more angry. They worked overnight and they started building again a big anthill. So we told them that they need to find, there are those people that do pest control, but it did not even work at all. I still remember I went to this other shop that is called NTK. I went there and I bought some chemicals that can kill the termites. I sent it to Zim using a bus, and then when it arrived, they started spraying on top of our grandmother's grave with the chemical, which was said to be very powerful and it can kill the termites, but it did not even work. These termites, it was like they are possessed. They kept on building and building until we got tired. The termite hills got so big, we did not want such a thing to happen on top of our grandmother's grave. So in our family, from the family where I come from, they do what they call ancestral worship. My grandmother used to perform a lot of magic tricks, and my uncles as well. They would go around villages performing their magic tricks, sometimes even scamming people using those magic tricks, even creating snakes out of thin air. They would come into your home, pray for you, claiming that they are chasing away demons from your home, and then they will say that in your stomach there is a bad spirit, a tokology in form of a snake. They would even pull out the snake from your stomach, and after that they would demand some payment from you. So just before my grandmother had passed away, it was said that she had said that there was something that she wanted to tell me, something which was a secret, and reminded her relatives not to place any tombstone or to build on top of her grave, for her grave was supposed to be taken away, washed away when it would rain over and over again. Unfortunately, she passed away before she could tell my relatives the message, the secret that was supposed to be delivered to me. So my grandmother, she was a traditional healer. Some people thought that she was wicked, but us as her family, we thought that she was great because she used to make money with what she used to do. So the scariest thing that happened after we had placed the tombstone and everything that was happening, those guys that were doing the pest control, I personally spoke with the guy. He then told me that he was going to Harare to purchase some equipment as well as some chemicals, and if I would give him money, he would try to buy this type of a chemical which he said that he would find in Mbare, and I agreed. I sent him the money. He said that the thing that they wanted to do was to dig around my grandmother's grave, then they would put the chemicals there, then these chemicals will reach the place where the nest of the queen that controls the other termites would be, then they would destroy the colony. That is what they told me. I gave him the money. He went to Harare. On his way back, this man called me when they were in Chivu, and he said that when he was buying some food so that they can continue with their journey returning back to Masvingo, he saw my grandmother and he was shocked. He said what happened was that when the bus stopped, he then got out and he went to the toilet wanting to relieve himself. That was when he had a knock, and when he had a knock, he said, "Mune mono mono," in Shona translated, "There is a person in here. I'm relieving myself. Why are you knocking?" And then he heard a voice of a woman, and he was shocked because he heard that this sounded like my grandmother, for he knew my grandmother because he also comes from the same village. And then this woman opened the door and saw that it was my grandmother, who told him, gave him a warning not to set foot at her grave, otherwise bad stuff was going to happen to him. So since he is someone who smokes weed, he said that he blamed the weed that he had bought in Mbare, thinking that maybe they had laced it with some drugs, so he was just hallucinating. He continued with his journey. On his arrival at night, his son got so sick and he did not have any money. We were still owing him round about 200 and something US dollars. He then said, the only way that I can get money is if I can finish off that piece job. And when he wanted to go to my grandmother's grave, that was when he saw a snake. He said that this snake spoke with him, and the snake warned him again not to approach the grave, to stop whatever that he wanted to do. But he did not tell his other workmates that he was with. They continued, and by the time that they started digging around my grandmother's grave, that was when he received a phone call. Well, it was me who called him first because I wanted to send him the money, so I wanted to hear if they had finished digging around the grave so that they can pour the chemicals that they had bought in Harare. Whilst we were talking on the phone, he was telling me how desperate he was if it was possible for me to send him more than 300 US dollars so that he can rush with his child to the clinic. So that was when he just dropped the call. Later on, he told me that he had seen a vision of his son being strangled by my grandmother and his son dropping down dead. He dropped the call on me before he could tell me that he was caught up in a vision. I could not understand why he had dropped the call on me. I tried calling him for a very long time until one of my brother called me and said, "Oh dear sister, some terrible stuff has happened here. That man that we had hired, his son has passed away." And then one by one, all of those men that were working on my grandmother's grave, 3 of them, they had their kids died. All of their kids, they died one by one. That is the most strange thing that happened in our village. For a very long time, people used to be scared to even pass through my grandmother's grave, thinking that if they do that, then their sons, they will also die. So the situation right now that is in the family is that our grandmother comes to us, then she transforms herself and she will become a man, then she will proceed to sleep with us, and then when you wake up, you will see the evidence that there is someone that has been sleeping with you. The first time when it happened to me, I thought that it was my husband who had done this thing to me, and I could not understand why. But one day when he was not around, when I woke up, I saw a man, a shadow of a man that was on top of me, and that person disappeared, and I saw my grandmother leaving my bedroom. So I spoke with my sisters, who then told me that that is the same thing that is happening to them, and this is what is making our husbands to be weak. We spoke with our brothers. Our brothers have said that we are not supposed to inform our husbands. We need to keep this as a secret from our husbands. I want a solution. But our brothers, they are not offering any solutions at all. They just say that everything will be okay in time. We are suffering alone in silence. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear sister. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world. Sure.